Perfect. Okay, so today we're going to go over our overhead lift progressions and kind of have you guys understand why we do these progressions and how we explain them to our athletes. So before you ever get started with the athlete, and it's just like today, we're going to learn the push press. Okay, so it's always good practice to show them so that they can, one, have an idea in their head of what this is supposed to look like. So like Amber, today we're going to learn the hang clean and the push press today. So we go to the side. I then just walk through the hang clean in the push press from here. Okay, so when we introduce the push press, Amber, I'm going to use you. So one of the first most important things is the athlete needs to understand this movement is about using her legs to propel the bar up and then to use her arms to finish the lockout, okay? This is extremely important because for most of these athletes that may play any type of sport that involves their overhead, this movement directly correlates to force produced at the leg, at the hips, transfers up, finishes overhead. Think of a basketball shot. Think of even any softball player. So any movement that you have, movement that's expressed overhead, all the force is going to be generated down here. And that's what the push press is allowing our athletes to practice. So let's grab that bar in your clean grip. Perfect. Let's bring it down the top of your knee and pause. Shift towards the middle of your foot. Puff out your chest. Big push till you catch. Beautiful. Let's do it with the full clean though. Let me hear your feet. Go for it. Good. So a lot of times if you see an athlete isn't moving your feet, just tell her, let me hear your feet, and that normally fixes it. So in the push press, our main goal of teaching the push press first is so the athlete understands the most important part, and that's the dip and drive. In this setup, step one is making sure the athlete is in the proper position. So for our athletes, we want their feet directly underneath their hips, their toes slightly out, weight distributed in the middle of their foot. From here, I'm going to tell the athlete to think about driving her knees forward and out where her toes are as she sits her butt slightly down. So go ahead and then pop it up overhead. Very good. But let's try that again. And I want you to think about, as you pop it up overhead, I want you to squeeze your quads. Go for it. Squeeze. Much better. Give me one more. Very good. So oftentimes when you're teaching an athlete any type of like push press, overhead movement, and they have a dip, they make the dip into like a squat. So I'll demonstrate, like they think that the lower they go means more force production overhead. So they may grab the bar and then they might do one of these. And so when that happens, Amber, let's grab that bar again. I like to use the analogy to the athlete, go ahead and put it back up there, that the push press or any type of movement where force is produced down here, transfers up overhead, think of it as a spring. And I say, okay, we just want to load your spring as much as we have to and then accelerate up. So it's not about how fast we go down or how low we go, but really the whole goal is how fast we change direction. And that's what's going to carry over to any type of athletic movement. So think about, I like to tell the athlete, load your spring, explode your spring. Go for it. Load, explode. Up. Very good. And you see how I just set up? That right there, sometimes if you have an athlete that goes too low, just give them that verbal cue, and that way they know. So down and up, go ahead. Absorb, up. Perfect. One more. Awesome. So after the athlete is able to demonstrate that they understand where to position their feet, the next movement would then be teach them not only how to produce force up, but now how to change direction and absorb a load up overhead. So that's when we're going to introduce the push jerk. So when it's time to do the push jerk, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to demonstrate first. So I'm going to grab the bar, do my hang clean. I'm going to make sure the athlete fixes her feet. Stand. Notice how when I brought that bar down, I bent my knees. Even though it's not that heavy and I don't have to, I always want the athletes to start learning how to do that because one, it teaches them how to absorb, and that's actually going to carry over to any type of landing mechanics. But then secondly, it helps them save their collarbones because it hurts. And then second one, stand, okay? So you're gonna think about using your legs to drive the bar up, using your arms to push yourself down into a mini squat, okay? Try it. Good, reset, bring it back down, again. That's okay, much better, very good. So, do we see how we kind of went super slow and then our hips went back? So I always like to tell my athletes, in my dip, if my hips go back, the bar goes forward. I want the athlete to understand how to dip with their hips straight down and propel the bar up. So if I see that, a couple of cues I like to give. One, I'm gonna tell the athlete, pretend you have a string between your feet and you have to hold that string tight as you dip down. So try it. Up. Okay, that was a push rest. That's okay. Try it again. Up. Good. Remember, we're doing the push jerk though.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. Up. Very good. Reset. Beautiful. One more. Good. Very good. Another cue I'll give an athlete still tends to, a lot of times as it gets heavy and the athlete's not bracing, one, their elbows start to drop. And this happens, so I'm gonna tell the athlete to drive her elbows up into the bar as she dips. Because in any overhead movement, this you want active. As soon as I dip, I don't wanna ever have my elbows down because my lats are engaged. So if my lats are engaged, my elbows stay positioned up and out. And now me and the bar are moving as a unit. And that's the whole point. I'm moving as a unit, I'm loading force, I generate force directly up into that barbell, and then when that bar starts to accelerate up, that's when I take that moment to change direction and decelerate down, okay? So let's try one more. So what did you see there on that movement? So remember, what are the things that we just talked about that we want to see in any overhead? One, position. Two, where is the direction of the bar in the dip? If I see the bar start to come this way, it's gonna land out in front of her. So these are the main movements. So before you can see what she did wrong, look at the biggest thing, see what's not looking correct. It's all about mechanics, and then we can figure out why and how to cue her. So give it to me again. Okay, so when she dipped, she actually did one of these. So a lot of times when I first learned how to coach, I would always find something straight behind my athlete that I can use as my guideline. So I'm standing here, I'm looking straight at that window pane, and it's a straight line. And if the bar moves this way, I can tell. So when you're looking here, you can look at that wall. So always use the room around you. So go ahead and put the bar back up there. Good. So another thing that I'm noticing is that the reason that she's dipping back, because her elbows are too high and her hands are too close. So once you get your hands a little bit wider, good. I want you to think elbows out, good. Puff out your chest, get your head out of the way, dip straight down, drive up. Good. Reset. On this next one, when you dip, I want you to focus on feeling your quads. Try it. Up. Good. Now hold that position. Can you drop your chin down a little bit? Good. See how we did that? Now stand. The reason that we're doing that, because one, she's not poking her head through, but just by changing where her head is, I'm getting more of her upper back engaged. And now I need her to finish the lift. So for all of our athletes, I need them to hold it, stand, 3 seconds, and then bring it back down. Because now they're showing me when they hold that catch, they're actually able to absorb that load. And that's our main focus here. So why don't we do 1 hang clean, 2 push jerks again, and then we'll switch with Amber. So stop, let's turn our toes slightly out, drive our knees out, look straight. Good. So let's fix our hands. Remember that movement we just worked on together. Elbows forward and out. Let's get our feet a little bit closer. Turn your toes slightly out. Feel your quads when you dip. Drop your chin, stand. Good. Reset. It's okay. Look straight. Good. Very good. So that was awesome. Go ahead and put it down. I actually liked what she did on the last one because it helps me show you something else. So on her last one, if you noticed, when she dipped down, this happened. There was separation. No, it happens a lot of times when the bar gets heavy. There was separation between the athlete and the bar. The issue is that as I'm coming down and me and the bar lose that connection, I'm moving down, the bar was staying up. So the moment that I try to transfer force up into that bar, the bar still it's accelerating down into me. That's not gonna help me propel the bar up. So it's really important that when you're here, tell my athletes shrug up into the bar, elbows forward and out. We have to absorb the bar down, move as a unit. With that athlete, I may add an even slower eccentric in that dip, like 1, 2, 3, pop up, push down, okay? And why don't we try it? All right, tap that knee and pause. Shift towards the middle of your foot. Push till you catch, all the way down. Good, all right. So same with you. I'm probably gonna pop the bar up a little bit, get it a little bit more in the palm of my hands. Good. Shrug up into the bar. Perfect. Go for it. Good. Reset those feet. There you go. Give me one more. I want you to hold your catch for me, okay? Hold it. Now stand. Perfect. So go ahead and bring it down. That was really good. A lot of times if you have an athlete that doesn't really understand how to change direction, and it kind of sometimes looks like this, they're here, and then they're like, oh, okay. Like they don't really know. A lot of times I'll cue them, let me hear your feet. Because if they have to move their feet, they actually understand how to get tall, squat down, okay? So let's try it, and I want to hear your feet on this one. Plus, it actually, if you're forcefully moving your feet, you actually move down underneath that bar faster. Okay, tap your knee and pause. Push to catch. Good. Reset. Good. So the only thing that I would want to see is that as you dip, I can tell this is going to start to happen. So you really have to be active into this bar. Elbows forward and out. Feel these muscles turn on, okay? That's what's connecting you to the bar. In any Olympic lift, in a snatch, in a clean, in a jerk, the connection is your lats, okay? Elbows a little higher up. Good. Go for it. Good. Very good. Before we would ever introduce the split jerk, the most important thing in the push press is the dip and drive, right? Making sure, a lot of times if you see an athlete, especially with the female athlete population, you may see this. A lot of times, one, if they get stronger, it's gonna go away. But more often than not, it also has a lot to do with body awareness. So that's when I really tell them to slow down their dip and feel their quads. Because if they're slowing it down and feeling their quads, they actually understand what's going on at their knees, unless they're like this and they're just moving super fast. So one, is their dip and drive mechanics set? Two, can they change direction, absorb down? I will never push an athlete into the split jerk until they show me that they can accelerate the bar, change direction, decelerate themselves in the load. If they can't push down, they'll never be able to push down into a split, okay? That's why we always do push press first, push jerk, adds that second movement pattern, and then with the split jerk, that's gonna be a little bit more mechanics with their feet, as well as for longer limb lifters, I can get lower in a split than I can in a push jerk. Lower means more load, okay? Perfect. So,
this is Relentless Athletics, bringing the female athlete her best performance through science. If you like this video, be sure to like and share it. Also, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. For more science on female athlete development, check out our website at relentlessathleticsllc.com.